run thing, but it certainly felt like a no try.
Yeah. Good decision.
But it was a close cut thing. And then there was the one where there was the Wellesby forward pass to Nguama. He managed to kind of wrestle the ball free and get through and would have scored, but unfortunately the pass was just a bit forward. And these were two very good close chances that St Helens nearly got, especially during that period. But then it felt like as soon as the Roosters got another chance up your end, Joseph Manu scored his second try of the game. He's a very impressive player who clearly knows how to take his chances. He's definitely demonstrated that in the high profile games that we've seen him play over the last sort of 18 months or so.
Yeah, I agree. I think him and Tupu were brilliant. They're so athletic and tall. They were. I mean, that's where the difference was at the end of the day. It was the quality of their edge, their outside backs, was just superior to what we had on show, and they put away those chances, and it was brilliant. The battle up front was magnificent. Hargreaves at least 10 minutes in the sin bin because for persistent high tackles, but it was a magnificent battle between the four props, and I thought Walmsley did himself no harm at all. I thought he had a magnificent game. He was clearly our man of the match by a distance.
Yeah, he definitely stood out, and his battle with Jared Warrea-Hargreaves in particular, wasn't it? That was kind of the headline act of all of that. So yeah, the game was bookended by a Thompson try to start it and a Walmsley try to finish it. I mean, those two prop forwards, you must be very pleased with what they put onto the pitch, and you've only got 1 year of them still in harness in tandem, but you must be excited for what they can deliver in Super League level, considering how they stood up to one of the best packs that the NRL has to offer.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, obviously, as with all teams, it relies upon them staying fit for the season. But if those guys can keep doing what they're doing, and then we can bring Coop back to add a little bit more creativity to the team, then I am still very optimistic for the season, and I'm sure we'll take strength from the game this weekend rather than it being a disappointment and knocking us backwards. I'm sure the players were disappointed because I know they felt they could have won the game. But I'm sure that on reflection they'll take a lot of positives out of it. Jake Friend, by the way, first-rate twat, really twat. He's like a cross between.
He's no friend of yours, is he?
No, right, like a cross between Matt Diskins clapping his hands like a bloody seal every time there's a tackle, and then gobbing off to the referee non-stop like Jimmy Lowe's. I haven't disliked a hooker as much for a long, long time. It was really, really annoying.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, and I think during the game he was probably clouding your opinion of some of the things because he was annoying you that much, but obviously...
Binding me up.
Yeah. Just touching on one of the fan views there, AK Steele's view, kind of... He phrased it far more flamboyantly than I would, but I'll kind of maybe try and translate it to maybe how I felt about it. But Johnny Lomax in Super League commands games. He dictates where the play's going to go and almost always manages to confuse the defence whilst he's doing it. At this level, do you think this level is half a step ahead of where Johnny Lomax is at? It just feels like he only had a couple of interventions in this game, and they were interventions that were close, but not actually how you.
I don't. This was
doing Super League.
I'm not. I mean, I heard your comment last week, Mark, about Johnny at international level, and I don't think anybody can disagree with the fact that Johnny's not yet shown at international level that he's got that he can translate his Super League capabilities into at that stage. If we go back to this game, though, I don't think either Lomax or Farge had worse games than their opposite numbers for the Roosters. So neither set of halfbacks were setting the game alight because both sets of defences were working really well.
Yeah.
Both sets of halves were having to work really hard just to create anything to get on the edge. And I do think the outside backs at the Roosters were better, but Lomax created a couple of really good opportunities, not least, probably, in my view, the pass of the game to Makinson.
Yeah.
Which was an absolute scorcher. And it would have been a bloody walk-in if he'd been able to take it.
Yeah, it was like just a quarter of a yard too far in front, weren't it? And these tiny margins where one player doesn't quite get it right, and
some of Johnny's kicking was good. I thought we were struggling. There was one point we were really struggling to get out of our half, and then Johnny put his foot on the gas, got the ball short, and put a really nice kick in down the far side. So I don't think it was an outstanding game for Lomax. I'm not trying to say that, but I don't think either set of halves had an absolutely outstanding game. More about the forwards and the hookers.
I think Smith did very. Like, we know how great Johnny Lomax has been at Super League level. I'm left wanting something more at that next level up still, and like I spoke about last week, I genuinely wanted him to come out and say, I am not just a great player, I'm a world-class player.
So I agree with you. So I don't think we can say that I think we've got to say the jury's still out.
Yeah.
At that level.
On a positive note,
I don't think got any question about that.
Yeah, on a positive side of things, there were two players who we've not seen a lot of yet in Saints shirts that came back into action in this game. James Roby didn't play the full 80. I don't think anyone expected him to. And to be fair, Aaron Smith deserves a chance. He's been playing really well when he's been on the pitch. But 36 tackles, no missed tackles from James Roby tells you what kind of a star he is. He didn't quite get his running game going in this game, but like you talked about, the defences were so intense that it didn't offer much space necessarily for that. And Morgan Knowles, first time I've seen him in action this year since he came back from his injury that he picked up that kept him out of the Great Britain tour. I thought he was brilliant in this game. I thought, him and Victor Radley had kind of a secondary battle going on to what we were seeing between Warrea Hargreaves and Walmsley, and I think, both those two players, both young players, developing into their loose forward role and that sort of thing. I thought both had impressive games. I thought Morgan Knowles showed just how top quality a player he is coming back into the side for this game.
Yeah, no, I was really pleased with Morgan. He's such a tough, hard-working forward. It reminds me an awful lot of Paul Cullen when he used to play in a similar sort of position for Warrington. Hard as nails, very uncompromising, and an engine that you won't believe. He just keeps going and going and going and going. So delighted to have him back. It was great to have Robes back on the field. Although I do think that Smith suffered nothing by comparison. His passing out of dummy half, his tackling and his work rate, I think Aaron Smith did really well, and he's progressing very nicely for us at the moment. I think Aaron at hooker, and I've no doubt as long as he stays fit, he'll continue to spell Roby for the rest of the season.
Right, well, we've talked about most of the players, so we won't pick out star players as such because there was a lot of stars on display for us. But was there a particular highlight moments of this game for you? It might be hard to pick one out because you lost, but was there a particular highlight moment for you in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously as a Saints fan, the highlight was when Tomo scored early to give a little bit of hope. So that, and it was a really nice move, and I was right in front of that. I mean, the Tomo had slightly overrun the ball, so he did it remarkably well to get down and keep hold of the ball and then get it down over the line. But as a rugby league fan rather than a Saints fan, I've watched it several times now, and I still don't know how Tupu managed to pick that ball off his bootlaces, keep his balance and score. Yeah. I mean, it was a remarkable piece of play by the winger. I thought that was brilliant.
And he was the most composed person on the field as well when he noticed he could bring it round a little bit to try and make the kick better. It didn't make a difference in the end to the outcome of the kick, but even that, like, you've just took one of the most ridiculous catches. I'd be like rushing to get it down just in case I dropped it.
Put the ball down, yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah,
what a player.
Stuff.
What a player.
Yeah, he had one of the highlight moments of the World Club Challenge last year as well. So well done to Daniel Tupu. Right, that's the World Club Challenge well and truly covered. We make no apologies for giving that extra emphasis this week. We're now going to go through the Super League match reviews. We're not going to talk about those games in as much depth, but we're still going to try and make sure we cover all the key points as we move on to the Super League match reviews. Right, so it was round 4 of Super League. Obviously, there were only 5 games to talk about, but we're going to take you through those now. And it starts on, unusually, on Friday night. It was Castleford hosting Wakefield in the local derby there. It was actually 15-14 to Wakefield at half-time. Jacob Miller drop goal just edged in off the post to give them that narrow of leads, but it finished up 32 points to 15 as Castleford dominated the second half. 7,202 were there. James Child was the referee. In terms of the stats, Cass made nearly 350 more metres and 8 more breaks, as well as more successful offloads and more tackle busts, and 2 fewer errors. So the stats say they were the better team with the ball. They also say they were the better team without the ball, with a better team tackle success rate, 5 fewer penalties conceded to. Wakefield, with 13 penalties, 2 sin bins and less than 900 metres made in the game, didn't do themselves any favours. Individually, James Clare with 2 tries, 5 tackle busts, 139 metres and 3 clean breaks. Jordan Rankin, a try assist, 7 tackle busts, 121 metres, 2 clean breaks. Jake Truman, 5 tackle busts and 116 metres. And Paul McShane, 1 try assist and 102 metres. For the losing Wakefield side, Matty Ashurst put in a strong effort, 44 tackles, 10 of which were marker tackles. Joe Westerman had a try off, I would say, the most forward pass of the weekend for 114 metres as well. And Reece Lynn, 112 metres. Do you want to give us the first of the fan reviews? And again, televised game, it's no surprise.
Carsten's in first. That Johnston is magic. But Cass were just better against 12 men. Navarrete doing Navarrete things, and I really thought Johnston did his knee again, ?
Yeah, that was touch and go, weren't it, when Tom Johnston got tackled, I think, was it just inside the in-goal area or just around his own line, and he really sort of overextended that knee, and we know what problems he had with his knees. And this came after we're going to talk about what he did before that, lots and lots, I think. As we talk about this game, came after one of the best finishes you're ever going to see on a rugby league field. And I was actually, because we all like Tom Johnston so much, this wasn't just Wakefield fans holding their breath and hoping he was okay. I mean, even at the Wigan game on Sunday, I want to say Matt, because I think his name's Matt, but because he doesn't ever send in fan reviews to the show, I can't be certain it is Matt. But Matt, I'm going to say Matt, who sits behind me at Wigan, even he was saying, oh God, my heart was in my mouth. And I'd had a very similar conversation with my Uncle Liam as well, about half an hour before. So yeah, everyone was holding their breath there on that one, Carsten, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think we all want to see whether he is able to translate his Wakefield form into an England shirt later in the year, because he's been dreadfully unlucky with injuries over the last few years, and I mean, he's obviously still a very promising young fella, and I think we'd all like to think he'll get an opportunity to show what he can do on a bigger stage.
Yeah. Fatboy Rob said, Wakey played okay in the first half, in brackets assisted by Child Shuttle Rob, and we were rewarded with a wonder try, and they were rewarded with a wonder try and a try from a forward pass. Cass came out and blew Wakey away after half time, in brackets assisted by Child. He's even-handed, fair enough, Rob, and deserved their 14th victory in a row and against the White Shite. McShane, man of the match for me. Another strong performance from the 2020 Man of Steel, Richardson. In fact, they all